this morning, wherever you are in the world. Okay, so thank you very much for joining, as I said, and I completely forgot to turn my pages. So as Andy was saying, you can access the chat just by hovering over the top of your screen and opening up the chat window there. And that's how we're going to be taking questions tonight. So if you do have something you want to ask or a comment you want to make, please use that. So in today's session, we're going to be looking at the integration of our latest software offering, ClassFlow, with ActivInspire. As you can see on the screen, I'll be demonstrating what ClassFlow is and how it integrates with ActivInspire. I'll take a look at first how to connect your ActivInspire software with your ClassFlow account, and then how to get the student devices connected to your lesson. I'll do a quick demonstration of how the questioning works so that you get a better idea about what it actually does, and then we'll have a look at the assessment data that's gathered at the end. So I do have some people who have joined us tonight that are going to become my class for the next half hour as well. So let's first get started with what ClassFlow is. It would be interesting to know, and I don't have my little chat windows open and my participant windows open there, but or the chat as well, is have many of you heard of ClassFlow, and are many of you registered for a ClassFlow account? So maybe if you want to just make a comment in the little chat window there, and then I can get some feedback from Andy to let me know. I do see some things popping up, and I see lots of no yet, so this will be interesting tonight then, because hopefully you'll want to go away and register for your account. For those of you who are not familiar with ClassFlow, it is Promethean's latest software offering. It's a cloud-based collaborative learning application where you're able to ensure the active participation and engagement of every student by enabling the flow of dynamic interactive content across multiple devices. If you're interested in finding out more about the actual ClassFlow software, and as I say, it's cloud-based, so when I say software, it's actually a website that you would go to, then I would encourage you to visit classflow.co.uk and take a few moments to read about what ClassFlow has to offer in the classroom. If you are joining us from over the pond in the US or Canada, your site, it would be better to have a look at classflow.com for some more information. Today, though, we're not actually going to be using ClassFlow. What I'm going to do is show you how you can use the login details from your ClassFlow account within ActivInspire to enable learners to connect their personal devices to your ActivInspire lessons. Just before I begin, though, because I do know that there are a lot of non-UK educators who are on the call tonight, or this afternoon, or this morning, I want to address you specifically, just to explain a little bit about this, because you might have the ActivInspire software and be thinking, why don't I have this little ClassFlow button up at the top here? Why is that not appearing? So ClassFlow integration with ActivInspire is only currently enabled when you use the application in US or UK language. The reason for this is because these are the only two countries where we've officially gone to market with ClassFlow. As the new software is released into different countries and proper support is put into place for the different languages, the non-English languages, the integration can then be switched on in ActivInspire for the different languages. So in case you're not aware, there's only one ActivInspire application and you can open it up in different languages. So therefore, if you don't have this, because you don't use the ActivInspire software in English language, you can still make use of it by changing your application language. To do that, you would go up to File, Settings, and then select the language option here. And then you just need to make sure that you have either English United Kingdom or English United States. That does mean, though, that all of your menus within ActivInspire will turn to English language. Okay, but that is an option for you if you do like what you see tonight and you'd like to make use of it. So ClassFlow and ActivInspire, as I said, are two separate pieces of software. ActivInspire, as you know, is a piece of software that you install on a local computer. whereas ClassFlow is a cloud-based software, so you would access it through a URL. But what the button here, so what we see here when we talk about ClassFlow and ActivInspire is this little button up here. And what this does is it allows ActivInspire to use the device connectivity component of ClassFlow, thereby enabling student devices like smartphones, tablets, laptops, or desktop computers, devices which are internet-abled, to connect to an ActivInspire flipchart lesson. Like ActiVote or ActivExpression, and I'm sure some of you are familiar with those devices and have heard of them, the integration allows you to create assessment opportunities within your flipcharts and use the devices that your learners are starting to bring into school or that schools are starting to provide for learners. So as I said, it doesn't have to be tablet devices. We do know that a lot of schools come equipped with class sets of laptops, or you have a computer room that you can go to with a suite of computers. So this can work as long as the students are using a device that's connected to the internet. And if you do have ActivExpression, this doesn't make them redundant because you can use a combination of these devices. So some of your students could be using the ActivExpression devices, and other ones could be using tablets or laptops or computers as well. Okay, so how does it work? This is a fairly easy process, and I'm sure that you'll be glad to know that. And the great thing is that once I have the connection between my ClassFlow account and ActivInspire, I don't really need to do anything new because I'm using it within the piece of software that I already know. So a couple of steps that we need to do to get started, though. First of all, you need to make sure that you're on the latest version of ActivInspire software. So you can check what version you're on by going up to the Help menu and then About, and it will tell you up here what version you're on. So the latest version of the software, as you can see on my computer here, is 2.5. Okay. Now, the latest version of the software is not an automatic update. So what that means is that you can't update it from going to here. It'll tell you that you just have the latest software. So what you need to do to get the latest version is go to support.PrometheanWorld.com and find the software and ActivInspire tab, and then you can download it from there. Next, you will need to register for a ClassFlow account. If you're a UK teacher, I would encourage you to register at classflow.co.uk. In fact, if you are in the EU, so if you are an EU country, then probably this site is also the best for you to register with, as it complies fully with the EU data protection regulations. There are some other countries that do have their own ClassFlow sites, and it might be worth checking with a local Promethean to see if you do have one available for your country. Sorry, I got distracted by a question coming in there that I'll answer in a few minutes. Okay, so you need to first of all register for your account, and that's simple enough to do. So you just would go to the ClassFlow website. So we'll go to classflow.co.uk. And once I'm here, up in the top corner here, you're able to sign up. So you just click on that, and then you want to fill in your information and sign up as a teacher. So it's not difficult to do at all. Okay. Once we've done that, I then want to come back into ActivInspire, and I could just go up and register with this, but because I want you to register with the classflow.co.uk website, there's one more step we have to take before you can sign in, and that's just to make sure that your ActivInspire software is directed to the correct ClassFlow server. So what I'm going to get you to do is you will go up to File, Settings, and then you just click on your little ClassFlow tab here. And what you want to do is make sure that you've put classflow.co.uk in here, and then you would just click the update. So you can see mine is already in there, and I've already updated it. And it's now telling me that it's connected to my ClassFlow account. So what I can then do is click on my little button here, and I can put in my username and password. See if I get it right. Nope, I thought I typed my password wrong, so let's try again. Okay, this time looks like it's going to work, and it just takes a couple of seconds, and then my device registration pane comes in, so I know that I am now connected. Okay, and I'm just going to close that down for a minute. We can come back to it. Okay, so that's the last step. I could click account, or I could come back here and I could go to the button at the top here, and I just put in the username and the password that I used when I registered for my ClassFlow account. Okay, just before I go and connect some students in there, I'm just going to pause for a minute and ask Andy if there's any questions or comments that have come in that need addressing.
There's just the one question from John Dix, who's asked how you are using those reveal buttons.
I did see that pop up. That's what distracted me. I'm actually using, it's a feature of the software called Actions. And this number here has an action on it to hide and show this piece of text here. If you are interested in finding out how to do that, we have done a webinar on building interactivity into your flip charts, and we did cover that in that session. So I would encourage you to go to our YouTube channel and have a look at our Developing Interactivity webinar, and you'll find out how to do that.
Okay, I'll post that link into the chat stream as well. That's it though.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay. Okay, so I've got all my students that are now going to join the lesson. So in order to get your students to join, now that I've got my ActivInspire connected with my ClassFlow, what I need my students to do is to open up their web browser and go to the URL classflow.co.uk/student. If you were using the classflow.com site, it would just be classflow.com and /student. Okay, so they're going to open that up in their web browser. Then when they get to the ClassFlow student screen, they're going to choose the tab that says Join Class. And in the Enter Class Code, they're going to put in my class code, which you can see here at the top, which is QQQBW. Now this code is unique to my account, my ClassFlow account. So anytime I decide to connect my class to my ActivInspire lesson using my ClassFlow account, this is the code that will come up, so they very quickly remember how to use that. Okay, and I can see one of my students has joined already. They then need to join the class, and then what I want them to do in the next screen is where it says don't see your name, you're going to type your name in, and then you're going to click join anyway. Okay, and then I can see who's joined my lesson at the top, because I can see the numbers joining. I can see a couple people saying that I'm going too fast. I will try and slow down, but do remember that this is all being recorded, and we will make sure that you have a link to the recording afterwards to view this at your own pace. Okay? What I'm going to do while they're joining is I'm just going to join as well, and so I can flip between showing you what the student view would be and what I'm showing on my screen for tonight. Okay, I can click on this little button up here at the top, and I can see all of the different people who have now joined my ClassFlow, joined my ActivInspire lesson. So I've got 6 people who have joined my lesson today. Okay, can you join? I don't mind if a couple of you want to try and join. I think that we've got quite a few people on the call, and what I will do is I'm going to move through the questions quite quickly, so I'm not going to wait for people to take their time to answer. But I don't mind if you do want to try it yourself, you can join. There's no reason why you can't. Okay. Right, so I've got 6 of my students joined. We're going to get started. Okay, so just like active expression, there are various question types which can be used. Like this simple yes or no question. Just as with active expression, I can set up my page, how I want it to be presented to my class, and I don't need to do anything extra to use the questioning. All I need to do is go over here to my toolbar, and I'm going to find my Express Poll option and open it up, and then that allows me to then select the type of question I want to use. Okay, so I'm going to go to yes, no in this case, and all I want to do is ask my class that have joined so far? Did everyone manage to join okay? Yes or no? So I'm just going to get my students to answer. Now, if I come into my screen, you'll see the student view here. Okay, I've got a few extra things, obviously, but you'll see the student view here. Did everybody manage to join okay? And you just want to say yes and submit, or no if you didn't manage to join okay. Okay, what I can see up here at the top is I can see everybody in my class, and I can see those in my class who have answered. And oh, I've just seen Nolene has dropped off, but I can see here those in my class that have answered. And what I can do is I can just stop that at any time. Okay, it's telling me that somebody joined at the last minute there and they failed to answer, but I'm just going to say no at this case. I'm not going to let them retry. What happens when that poll stops is I get my results viewer comes up, so I can see exactly the answers that my class gave. Okay, if I look at the top here, there's different ways I can view that information as well. So right now I'm viewing it as a horizontal bar graph, but I could change it to a who answered what graph, or we could even have a look at it in a pie chart. Not very interesting when everybody's said the same thing, but there are different ways that I can view that information. Okay, and I'm just going to close that down. Now that information, it hasn't disappeared. I can come back and have a look at that poll at any point, and we will have a look at that just a little bit later on. And I can see a few more people have managed to join my class as well. Okay. So I have that express poll that I can use, but that does take a couple clicks to get to the type of question that I want. So to make the process faster, I can preset questions to a flip chart page. And the way I do this is by going up to Insert in my main menu and then Questions and open it up. Okay, and in here, this is my question manager. So all I would do is type in the question I want here, choose the type of question, so in this case it's text, and if it was another type of question where it had possible answer options, I could then put that in there. And you can see there's lots of other things that you can explore with your properties for your questions as well. I'm not going to go into this tonight. If you do want to find more about creating question sets, then we do have a couple of webinars where we focused on active expression, and that will tell you how to actually set the set the questions up on your page. Okay, so this time, instead of having to use my express poll, you can see that this little start-stop flip chart vote button is now green on my toolbar. And if I click that, that means that my question should just start. There we go. And I can see my students in my class as well, and I'm just going to get them to type in. So all I want to know is tell me one fact that you know about our planet. So just type in something that you know about planet Earth. Is everybody managing that okay? Coming up? Oh, good. I can see somebody submitted already. Now, what I love about text is it's not just one character. So you can actually get about 140 characters. So you could have a statement or a good sentence that they could put in as well. So instead of just having to give a single word answer. I've got a few more people that are just sending them in. And I'm just going to leave this one running, although I'm going to take myself out of it for time's sake. And wait till the last couple of people answer. And just on my screen here while you're waiting, this is what the student view looks like. So I would just click in here to type my answer and then submit it once I was ready to submit it. Okay, so I'm just going to stop it for time's sake. Not everybody's answered, so I'm just going to say no again. So you can see here I've got a great variety of answers coming in. So imagine this was my class of 30, 33, of 30, between 30 and 60, depending where you are in the world in your class sizes. I could have all of my class's answers coming in here. What I can then do with text that is really nice, so I have all the different views that I can do as well. So yes, I can show who answered what. Okay, so I have different ways that we can view that information. But what I can also do with text is something called seed to the page. So if I click this one here, what it does is it just takes all of those ideas that my class gave me and it pastes them onto my page. And as you can see, they're objects that I can manipulate, I can edit them, I can pick them up and move them around. So we could start to group them. Okay, so what do we know? These ones are all about what's outside of the actual physical Earth. Or maybe this is about the water. This is about the structure of the Earth. So we could start to group them into different categories, okay? But the fact is I've got that all there. And again, even though I've pasted these on the page, all of that information is saved that I can go back and have a look at later on. With version 2.5 of ActivInspire, you're now able to do almost the full suite of questioning with the ClassFlow integration. So this includes sort and order questions. So this, for example, I could use at the beginning of a lesson, and I just want to see where my students' understanding is before we actually start teaching it. So I could start my poll, and I will get my class when it comes up, there we go, to just sort these answers in order. So you want to do order the layers of the Earth, starting from the center of the Earth and moving out. Okay, so I'll get my class to do that. And, oh, Ash is in there nice and quickly. Now, the other thing that I haven't pointed out, and I'm not going to actually show today, but I just want to mention I can do, is I do have the option to make my students anonymous, and I can do that just here in my voting browser. So if I didn't want to have my student names shown, if I wanted to hide those from my class, I do have the ability to be able to toggle between named and anonymous. And the great thing about that is that I can do it in anonymous in front of my class, but when I actually show that, want to have a look at it again at the end of the day, I can toggle it to named mode so I knew who gave what answer, even though we didn't show that at the time we were doing it with our class. Now, I'm just going to flip to mine again so you can see. The way this works is I've got all my options down here, and sorry, I'm sort of got windows on top of windows, and what I can do is use the arrows to just move them where I want these to be placed. Or the other way I can do that is just to move down to this end and drag my options up and down, okay? And then once I have it, I just want to make sure that I submit that. And I know that some people haven't answered, but I am going to stop again just for time's sake. So we'll say, no, we don't want them to retry. And oh, look, somebody got the correct answer. Very well done. And I can see that there's quite a lot in my class didn't, but that's okay, because like I said, if I do this at the beginning of the lesson, what I might then decide to do is I could check, again, remembering to see who got that right. But what I could also do is I could paste those results to the page, and then I'm just going to move it here, and I'm going to resize that. And I could just put that down here out of the way. We could then go away and progress through the lesson, have the discussion, and then at the end, I could come back and do this question again and see what my students have learned. So is everybody able to give me the correct answer at the end of it? So great information for me on what my students have, how my students have progressed throughout the lesson, but also allows me to pick up those students who maybe still need a little bit more support with that. And I always love to show features of ActivInspire as well. So on the planet here, you don't notice it, but there is an object that's hidden. So I can just change the translucency so we can have a look into the center of our Earth and we can see how those layers should be, so what the correct answer should have been. Okay. ClassFlow integration also allows me to send a flip chart page to my students. So in this case, so we would do that using this little button here. So I'm going to send that to my student devices, okay? And I'm just going to show you on mine what it looks like. And it takes a minute to render, but I'm using my internet quite hard this afternoon with this. So there you can see. So this is what the students see. Now, this is not editable. So what it actually is it arrives on the student's device as a picture. And therefore, I can't actually pick these up and move them around. Okay? But I still think that this is a really useful feature to be able to have, because what it means is that I could have this on the main screen and my students could have the exact same thing on theirs, making it easier for them to be able to read the information and follow it. So some learners do find it difficult once you get quite a lot of text and information onto the vertical plane of a display to be able to read the information, find out where the blank space is, then move their eyes down to figure out which label should go in that space, and then have to drag that back up and figure out where it is in there. It can be quite difficult for some children. So being able to send that to them, it means that they can have the information on their devices, but we could actually do the activity as a group by having my students come up and place them where they think it would go. Okay, so we could have that with a discussion there. So although students can't interact with this information, there's still a lot of value to being able to send out one of my flip chart pages for them to have a look at. Okay, just before I go into the next part, I'm just going to stop, Andy. Are there any questions? Yes, you do need good eyes on an iPhone. I have seen some people talking about, and it is thinking about the question types that would work the best for the devices that your students are using. If your students are using smartphones, something like this is probably not the best option to do. I would have something that was much more suitable for that smaller screen.
We've also had a question from Heba. What about creative camera shot for assessment using ActivInspire?
So what do you mean? Are they able to take a picture with their device to be able to send it in?
Yeah, submit a picture as an answer.
Yeah. Okay. Not in ActivInspire, not with ActivInspire and the integration with ClassFlow, but that is something that you can do in ClassFlow itself. So this is a little bit of a taster of some of the things that ClassFlow does. ClassFlow takes the integration with student devices to a whole other level. So if you are interested in that, I would definitely have a look at the ClassFlow website.
Great, that's it.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, just lots of positive feedback, I think. Lots of people
Great.
Impressed.
Excellent. We always like that, don't we, Andy? Okay, so just to continue on, this is the last bit of information that I'm going to cover. So the other type of questioning that ActivInspire and ClassFlow allow you to do is something called self-paced. So as its name implies, self-paced question sets are sets of prepared questions which allow learners to respond at their own pace. They provide flexible learning and assessment, and they help to focus the attention of the whole group because everybody participates and everybody's vote counts. So what exactly is it, and how are they different from the questions I've already shown you? So each flip chart page can contain several questions. So what I've shown you so far is the question has appeared on the flip chart page, and everybody has the answering option come to their devices. With self-paced, I have as many questions as I want. I can range them in difficulty, so I can give them different levels. I can have some students start at level 1, while other students would start at level 5. So I can differentiate where students start. The questions are not displayed on the flip chart page. Instead, the learners will read the questions on the display of their devices and then interact with their display to be able to answer them as well. Questions are sent to each learner's device one at a time, so they work through it at their own pace. And in the settings of the software, I can randomize or shuffle question sets so that each learner receives, oh, I see randomize with American spelling there, oops. You can randomize or shuffle question sets so that each learner receives questions in a different order. And as I said, each learner works through the question set at their own pace. And another really great feature is this feedback, that I can give feedback when learners give me an incorrect answer. So I could, instead of just giving them the correct answer, I could give them some feedback to help them to re-answer it, hopefully correctly, the next time. So let's have a look at that. Okay, So to create a self-paced assessment, I would go up to my insert questions to open up my question manager again. And this time, instead of just typing one question in, I would type all the questions in that I want. As soon as I type a second question in, the software automatically recognizes that this is a self-paced question set. I can then choose the type of questions. So you can see I've used a variety of questions here, and I can also give them different levels. That could be levels of difficulty, or it could be levels in any other sense that you would want them to be. And I can also give the options down here. What I can also do is I can set it to show the correct answer. So if you notice in this case, I have ticked the answers that are correct. So when my students answer, that will be recognized on their devices if they get the correct answer, and recognized in the assessment if they get the correct answer. Okay, so let's just have a look at that. I'm going to run that so that you can see it. And what I'm going to do as well is I'm going to come to my student one here because I want to show you that as well. So you can see what the questions look like. The question comes up here, and here are my answering options. So then I would just select the ones that are correct. I've got my 4 there, and just submit that in. Okay, and then my next one comes up. So again, I can just drag these, move the order that I want them in, and then submit them. Now I'm going to let my class continue on with that, and I'm just going to come in here to have a look. Oh, I can't see anybody else started. Have my other students dropped off? Nope, you're still there. Has anybody else started their question set? There we go. Now I can see some people getting in there. So I can see here if they are correct, they just move on to the next question. So you'll see the color green, light green, and then it moves on to the next one. If they're wrong, you can see the color slightly different and it's got an X on it. If I hover over top of it, it will tell me some information about that. So it gives me the question, it tells me what the correct answer should be and what my student answered. They do have the option, I can set it so that they can retry. I can also click on one and view the results that everybody in my class has given for that particular question. So I can see 3 of my class actually got it here correctly. So I can really drill down into the information as the assessment is going on. Now I wouldn't want to have this up in front of my class, but this is when we get the blank screen comes in very nicely with your remote control, that I could just blank screen that. I could be seeing this, and it means that I can get a good view of the group performance, individual performance, and also I can have a look at areas that maybe need further revision or further explanation because they're not quite getting, most of my class aren't getting it right. This display can help me decide, for example, when to intervene to help a struggling learner without disrupting the lesson. So if I see somebody is getting them all wrong, instead of making them continue, I can intervene at any point. It also means that I can identify those that are just whipping through it, and it means that I can create extra challenges for them because they're finding this too easy, they've moved on. And it also means that we can easily move on to another topic if I see that everybody has got this, there's no point in going over it again. So you can see all of the information that I'm getting here. And I'm just going to pause, I can pause that at any time, and what my students will see on their screen is it just pauses, doesn't let them answer anymore. And I could start that again. So we could intervene at any point and just have a bit of a discussion as well. And I'm actually just going to stop that for now. And I want to save those partial results as well. Okay, so self-paced, as you can see, comes up looking slightly different than my other types of questioning. Okay, we'll close that down. Okay. So the last thing I want to just cover is that gathering of evidence. So you've seen how the questions work, both individual ones on a page and the self-paced. But what I can also do, as I kept saying, is go back and have a look at those results. So a teacher doesn't always want to be locked in to seeing the results or having to look at the results with their class there. I want to be able to go back to this afterwards for assessment purposes. And I can, because all of that fantastic assessment data is being saved for me here in my voting browser. So that's just in the voting browser here. So if I select the top one here, I can view the results, and this is that first question that we asked about people joining. Was everybody able to join okay or not? Okay, so I could call that back at any time to have a look at it. If I scroll down, I also have that self-paced one that we did here, so I could call up that and explore that information further as I want as well. What I can also do is I can export any of the questions done in this particular flip chart to an Excel spreadsheet. So I'm just going to do that, and we'll save it on my computer, and it'll automatically open it up for me. If I just make that a little bit bigger, let's have a quick look at the information that we get. So this shows me my students, my student names up here at the top, and this tells me the different questions that I had on my page. So the first one was just ad hoc, so nothing comes up, but the other ones were I created in my question master, so therefore I get the question. And it also identifies the correct or incorrect answer. Green is correct, red is incorrect. And gray is just an answer that didn't have correct or incorrect. And I can click on any of these to open that up to see that full amount of information. I also get another tab that organizes it by question. So this time it shows me the individual question, so question 2, and then it says, I don't know why it says, what do you use? It should be my actual question there. But I have all my students down here, and I can see the answers that they gave. So this will do that for all of the questions that I asked, even the self-paced ones down there at the bottom. And I can also see them organized by students. So this will show me all the students in my class and the questions that they answered and the answers that they gave as well. So lots of information that's stored in here that I can use in different ways. Okay? So that brings us about to the end of the webinar there. I hope that you did find that useful, and as I said, it is not difficult to get this started at all. This is being recorded, so we will send you out the recording, the link to the recording in the next couple of days, that will talk you through how to get your ActivInspire connected with your ClassFlow account. But I hope that people are excited about it and want to go away and get registered for their ClassFlow accounts now. So just before we finish up, Andy, are there any questions there that need answering?
Yes, we have a couple. Lee Healy has asked if these classes have to be in real time. So I guess what he's asking is, can you run a class maybe over a day or so and give students the opportunity to answer questions?
Yeah, well, there's no reason why you couldn't, because there's no time limit to how long I can have my questioning running. So if I was doing a self-paced, I could leave it running for an hour or however long. Another way that you could do it is, I've seen it used with the active expression devices, but it would work with any devices in parent-teacher meetings where they had some questions that they wanted people to answer to get some feedback for the school. So what they did was they had devices sitting out and just let it run, and people could come up and pick up a device and answer when they wanted. I've also used it at the end of a presentation where I wanted to, or during a presentation, in fact, where I wanted people to give me questions as we went along so I could gather them and then answer them at the end. So yes, you can keep it running.
Great. This is from Katie Cousins, are there some ready-made resources on Promethean Planet to make use of this integration?
There are flip charts that teachers have shared on Promethean Planet that will allow you to do questioning. So yes, you don't need to do anything different with this integration. This integration just works as if you were using active expression devices. The only type of question that you can't currently do with the ClassFlow connection is enhanced multiple choice. But every other type of questioning you can do just as you would with active expression. So you don't need to do anything different. If you want support with actually creating questions in ActivInspire, well then you can go up to the help menu up here and go into the contents, and there's lots of great information here, down here by using learner response to tell you how to do that. And there is also stuff on Promethean Planet that will help you with setting up questions in ActivInspire.
Great. John Dix has asked whether images can be used in the questions.
To be sent out to devices?
Yeah.
Yeah, not in ActivInspire, but you can do that in ClassFlow. So as I said, ActivInspire just has the basic integration, so the type of questioning you could already do with ActivExpression. But if you want to be able to send images or diagrams or charts or graphs, you can do that in a ClassFlow lesson.
Okay, Louise Pepper's just asked as well. She has the home version on her personal computer to prepare basic lessons. Can she prepare this type of lesson on that version?
You can prepare questions, yes. I need to look, I'm almost positive that you can. I would need to look for sure. Where is she located? Is she UK or? The way
yes,
the license, the way the licensing works, Louise, is that you should have one preparation license, one presentation license for your display at school, and one preparation license. So you should be able to get the serial number from your school to be able to install a professional version of the software on your computer at home for preparation purposes.
Great.
That varies in different countries, but that's how it is in the UK.
Okay. And Mary has asked, can a student skip an answer if they don't know it?
You can allow them to navigate the question set. So yes, as long as you set that up in the question master when you set up your self-paced questioning.
Great. Okay, that's it.
Okay, perfect. So thanks everybody, that's us at the end of the webinar. I hope that you found the information in today's session useful. All of our webinar sessions are recorded, as I said, so please visit our YouTube channel, which is on screen, to catch up on any that you may have missed. This latest webinar recording link will be available to you in the next couple of days. And I'm just going to pass you back to Andy, and he's just going to close today's session.
Thanks very much, Janice. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. I'm sure that Janice has given you some great ideas for ActivInspire. We always like to hear your feedback, so please leave any comments you may have on the chat function. If you have any questions about the session, feel free to add them there now as well. And Janice's email address will be on the screen in a minute as well. We're also on Twitter, so you can follow us at PrometheanUKI and at TLC for UKI. And we're also on Facebook, facebook.com/PrometheanUKI. And as a reminder, you can visit classflow.co.uk for the UK and Ireland, or classflow.com if you're based elsewhere, to sign up for your free account. And you can also find free SPAG resources, instant assessment tools, and much more on those websites. So that brings our session to a close. Thanks again for joining us today, and we'll see you again soon. Thank you.
Thanks again, everyone. Have a good evening, morning, night, afternoon, wherever you are in the world.